All right, my friends, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this. I got about 7 minutes today for today's video. So I'm on a little bit of a crunch here, but it's all good because we're going to talk about who Jesus rebuked. Many of you may or you may not know this, but Jesus did not rebuke a lot of the common people that were, so to speak, sinners or, doing things particularly wrong. He was very merciful to individuals that I guess he deemed that didn't know much better. And a lot of this was, I believe, in his mind was like the issues of the Pharisees and the rulers of the time. Especially, he didn't really even care too much for the actual rulers, the political rulers. He was looking at the spiritual rulers, and he was looking at the individuals at the time that were supposed to be caring for the people. However, he strongly disagreed with a lot of things that they were doing, and they strongly disagreed with the things that he was doing. So there was a clash right there, and Jesus rebuked them quite often in the Bible. And I'm going to be talking about three circumstances here, or three situations where Jesus rebuked the Pharisees and kind of what it means to me and you. So y'all are in for a ride today. First one, Matthew 23, 1 through 36. In this passage, Jesus delivers a scathing rebuke to the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, condemning their hypocrisy and criticizing them for exalting themselves and burdening others with heavy religious rules while neglecting justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Jesus exposed their display of piety as mere acts for show. Imagine that, huh? I think there's a lot of Pharisees nowadays urging them to focus on genuine righteousness rather than seeking recognition from people. He warns of dire consequences of their hypocrisy and predicts judgment upon them for their rejection of truth and righteousness. So look at what we're dealing with here. Look at what this whole channel is built on. I talk about this a lot, how literally doing it to look a particular way to man, or to show off your outward appearance, or to have some sort of religious stronghold on people while neglecting to show justice, neglecting to show mercy, neglecting to show faithfulness, is literally why Jesus was, for better words, he was attacking the Pharisees. He was literally showing them, hey, kettle, meat, pot. You say that this is wrong, but I'm saying what you're doing is wrong. And Jesus was fierce when it came to the Pharisees. I believe he called them that of the likeness of the devil when he called them snakes. I mean, so that would have been a serious insult back then, because if you call somebody a snake back then, you're essentially calling them the devil. And I believe he called them a brood of vipers. All right, so now let's look at Matthew again. Matthew 12, 1 through 14. Here, Jesus confronts the Pharisees for their legalistic interpretation of the Sabbath law. While his disciples pluck grain and eat on the Sabbath, the Pharisees accuse them of breaking the Sabbath. Jesus responds by citing examples from the Old Testament where necessity justifies action on the Sabbath. He emphasizes that the Sabbath was made for humanity's benefit, not the burden to be strictly enforced. Jesus heals a man with a withered hand on Sunday, further challenging the Pharisees' rigid adherence to the tradition of mercy and compassion. So here, Jesus is literally telling them, what does this come down to? He literally told them that the Sabbath was meant to serve us. Like the Sabbath was a gift, and here they turned it into this huge, like almost a burden on people, where they had put so much legalistic and so many laws that they forgot that God had given the Sabbath for a gift. What is the gift? Hey, you worked 6 days, you get a day off. You get a day to recover. You get a day to come and just fill yourself with the Lord. I always look at it when I take a day off, I'm like a battery. You guys, so I'm a automotive guy, and I look at myself as like one of my automotive batteries when they're dead. You get a chance to plug it into this thing and just receive and just be filled with the Lord, so you can come back and you can do your job the rest of the week, for the next 6 days. And here the Pharisees were so rigid that they were like sucking the life out of the gift that God was trying to give people. And not only that, they were denying like righteousness on this particular day. There's many times where Jesus would like, do these things and they would get upset about them, but they weren't upset because Jesus did these things. They were upset because it was Jesus who did these things. Because if any of them could have done a miracle at that particular moment, they would have boasted and felt anointed and, all of these things that would have made them so special. Okay. Jesus didn't roll like that. He did it for the goodness of people. He did it to help that person. He didn't do it to do anything for himself. That's just not the way it works. All right, and then last scripture I want to go over here, because again, I'm really short today on time. Matthew 5:1-20. I just hope you guys are getting a lot out of this. I know you guys are getting a lot out of this. And if y'all are really getting a lot out of this, make sure that you head on over to kingdompowerlife.com and jump in on our group. So we got a free group. I've got free giveaways over there, but I've got a free group that you can come in and become a member, and you can jump in on the conversation. We'd love to have you to just talk about this stuff with us, guys. So get in a community, get rooted. That's what we're here for, Kingdom Power Life. All right, so Matthew 15:1-20. In this passage, the Pharisees criticized Jesus and his disciples for not adhering to their traditions, particularly regarding ceremonial hand washing before eating. Jesus rebukes and exposes their hypocrisy in prioritizing human traditions over the commandments of God. He illustrates their misguided priorities by condemning their neglect of honoring their parents under the guise of religious dedication. Jesus teaches that true defilement comes from within, from evil thoughts and intentions, rather than external practices like eating and washing your hands. So essentially he's saying, look, my guys are not washing their hands, but y'all are evil on the inside. And to top that off, we're at a point now where there is literally, I believe there was it 612, I believe it was 612 additional addendums. I could be wrong. It could be 613, 612 addendums to the actual law. So, here you had the 10 Commandments, and then you had like 600 plus additional laws, addendments to that law that everybody had to follow. I mean, you're practically a robot at a certain point. So it's like, here we are, they're just totally misguiding their priorities. And then Jesus already knew what they were doing wrong. He pointed it out. They had something where they were not honoring their parents under the guise of the religious dedication. And Jesus, called them out for it and said, hey, you're saying that my guys are doing this, but you're doing this. Like what's up? He's just showing them like, okay, while you pick out the little flake out of your eye, I'm going to show you the plank that is in your eye, right? So as you're picking out the little flake, as Jesus said, in my guy's eyes, I'm going to show you the plank that is in your eyes. So that being said, my friends, just think about it. There are a lot of Pharisees nowadays that are walking among us at churches, and they care more about the way they look from the outside more than who they are on the inside. So I believe this channel, it was created to break people free from that and be more connected with God on the inside, and to only care what God sees us as from the inside, and then let that beam out from us to the outside as we deliver his fruit into the world. Because ultimately, the only thing that we're to deliver in this world are the fruit of the Lord and all the things of the Lord, all the righteousness of the Lord. So it's got to come from him. So it's not a mirror of what people think about us. It's literally like our connection and who we are with God, internally and externally. So you want to be internally beautiful, then you be externally beautiful. And the only way to do it is to connect with the Lord. So that being said, my friends, I appreciate you guys for coming along here. And I got another video for y'all. I really want you guys to check this out. It is how to surrender to God. And I think that it'll be a really good video for you to check out, a segue right after this one. Get your surrender on. And that's it, my friends. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.